if I'm going to rap, right, I want to stand out, tell my story, and say something to where people hear it and they're like, damn, it's David Morse. Like, that's something special. And I feel like a lot of times everybody as a person feels maybe alone or feels like an outcast or feels like they're misunderstood. And so it was me embracing that and saying, you know what, I want to be unique. I want to be an outcast. Like, I want to be polarizing, like love it or hate it. But at the end of the day, if you listen to a David Morris song, I want two things to happen. I want the song to come on and you be able to say David Morris. Like, this is a David Morris song, right? Love my voice, hate my voice, love the music. It's like, it sounds unique to me. And number two, I want you to leave the song. I want the song to end and I want you to feel something. Whether it's Dutton Ranch and you just feel like you got a smile on your face and you're like, bro, what did he just, that's crazy, the smile. Or you listen to a song like Where the Back Road Ends in This Town and you're maybe a little bit, emotional because you can relate to the lyrics. Like the song I just dropped, Jenny's song. People are messaging me saying that they're crying after watching it. It's like, I want people to feel something, right? And if you have a song where people are like, yeah, it was good. It's like, no, it's like you want people to leave it with emotion and leave it with helping them in some way.
I think the emotional ties that you have to certain songs, like you mentioned Jenny's song that just came out, but you have another song that you wrote about one of your best friends that passed away recently. Walk me through that, because when you sing that song, you can feel that coming from your heart.
Yeah, in 2019, one of my best friends, like a little brother to me, Adam Pennington, passed away. He battled terminal illness, cystic fibrosis, for many years, and it was December of 2019, and it was like, it was one of those things where at some point it may happen,
right?
But my way to cope with that was to make music, and I wrote a song called This Town where I talk about it, and I wrote a song Where the Back Road Ends. And, it's one of those things, man, where you get to a certain point in life where you realize, like, stuff like that happens, right?
Yeah.
You're adults. People, accidents happen, tragedies happen, and you have to figure out how you're going to deal with it and move forward. And for me, I have the music, and a lot of that album, the Red, White, American Blues album, was dedicated to him and dedicated to people that we've lost. And I've had so many friends from my childhood, people that I grew up with, peers that overdosed or were taken from us in tragic ways. And so, I always try to make sure that the music that I'm making relates to people.
Right.
And I try to tell not only my story, but the stories of people around me, and make sure that at the end of the day, the music is going to bring people together, right? Because we all go through stuff. And that's what I talk about in my live show is like, hey, like, we all go through stuff. And I need you guys to know that if you relate to my music, that means that you're not alone, because that music is my life. And so it's the most special part about being an artist, is being able to connect with people like that.
The word relatable is something that I use all the time with mental health, because that's how people get through the anxiety, the depression, the tough moments in life, the up and down. Because, like, if they see you going through shit and they're a fan of your music, it makes them feel like, oh, David goes through the same stuff that I do. I can get through it as well. And you mentioned the shows, the connectivity. You just wrapped up your first headlining tour. It was dope. It was so cool to go to 2 of those shows with you. Seeing the audience, though, you mentioned there's kids, there's couples, it's a mix of people, but they all feel like they have the same story as you. Yeah. And I love when you ask, where are people from? Do they grow up like me? Is anyone from West Virginia? Yeah. Like, does it even feel like somewhat of an extension of, like, your friends and family when you're on this tour?
Absolutely. That's what's so cool is, like, at every show, I stay after and meet all the fans. I do a free meet and greet at the merch table, and I will continue to do that until, like, I can't, until there's, like, 2,000 tickets sold and I just can't meet everybody.
Right.
Because it's very important to connect and let people know that, like, dude, I feel like so many times we idolize artists. We see them on the internet, or we see them on TMZ and celebrities. Like, these people are normal people that have just figured out how to get really good at what they do and get paid to do what they love. And so I just try to break down that barrier and let people know, like, dude, I'm just a regular guy that makes music, right? Maybe I've had a tougher life than you. Maybe I've had an easier life than you. Maybe I grew up on this part of this town or this side of the railroad tracks. Maybe I'm taller than you or shorter than you. Maybe I'm like, but we all have something in common. Mm-hmm. And so that's what's important. And that's what the music is a great equalizer. And so I try to break down any other barriers and meet people and talk to them. And it means so much for people to just come up and say, hey, and take a photo. And I'm just like, I'm like, it's crazy to me that like when I'm not in performance mode and I'm not doing a show and official meet and greet, like when I'm walking through the airport and somebody comes up, dude, I love your music, can I take a photo? I'm just like, I'm in normal life mode. And I'm just like, yeah, dude, of course. I'm like, people want photos with me. Like,
this is dope.
Yeah, it's cool. It's just, it's wild, man. Cause it's like, at the end of the day, it's like, I'm just a regular guy.